You think you know me? You know me as the shepherd boy who toppled a giant with a single smooth stone. You know me as the warrior who slew his 10,000s, the musician whose harp could soothe the savage madness of a king, and the poet who wrote the songs you still sing in your darkest hours. You call me a man after God's own heart. But history has a way of polishing the tarnished gold of a crown until the bloodstains are no longer visible. I am David. And if you truly want to understand the heart of a king, you cannot just look at my victories. You must look at the night I almost lost my soul. You have to understand that the most dangerous battleground isn't the Valley of Elah, with Goliath screaming insults. The most dangerous place for a man is his own comfort. You think you know me. You know me as the shepherd boy who toppled a giant with a single smooth stone. You know me as the warrior who slew his 10,000s, the musician whose harp could soothe the savage madness of a king, and the poet who wrote the songs you still sing in your darkest hours. You call me the man after God's own heart. But history has a way of polishing the tarnished gold of a crown until the bloodstains are no longer visible. I am David. And if you truly want to understand the heart of a king, you cannot just look at my victories. You must look at the night I almost lost my soul. You have to understand that the most dangerous battleground isn't the Valley of Elah, with Goliath screaming insults. The most dangerous place for a man is his own comfort. It was spring. That is the time when kings go off to war. That is the rule. That is the rhythm of the ancient world. But I stayed in Jerusalem. Perhaps I was tired. Perhaps, after years of running from Saul and fighting the Philistines, I felt I had earned the right to rest. I sent Joab, my commander, to fight the Ammonites. I sent my best friends, my mighty men, to sleep in the mud and bleed in the dust, while I slept in silk sheets and drank wine from a golden goblet. That was my first sin. Not the lust of sloth, the arrogance of believing I was above the struggle. One evening, I couldn't sleep. The silence of the palace was suffocating. I got up from my bed and walked out onto the roof of the king's house. Jerusalem was spread out below me, a maze of limestone and shadows cooling in the twilight. From the rooftop, you feel like a god. You look down on the lives of ordinary people, detached, elevated. It makes you feel untouchable. Then, I saw her. She was bathing. The scriptures are polite about it, but let me tell you the raw truth. It wasn't just that she was beautiful. She was stunning. Yes, but beauty is common in a palace. It was the vulnerability. It was the fact that I was seeing something forbidden. I didn't turn away. A righteous man would have turned around, gone back inside, and prayed for a clean heart. I didn't pray. I stared. I let the desire build in my chest, like a fire that consumes oxygen, leaving no room for reason. I asked my servants who she was. They told me, and their voices trembled, perhaps hoping I would recognize the name and stop. Is this not Bathsheba, the daughter of Eliam, the wife of Uriah, the Hittite? Uriah, the name should have been a bucket of ice water on my lust. Uriah wasn't just a soldier. He was one of the 30. He was my elite guard. He was a man who had risked his life for me countless times. A foreigner, a Hittite, who had dedicated his sword and his loyalty to the God of Israel and to me. He was out there, right now, fighting my war, protecting my kingdom. And I was here, plotting to steal the one thing he had waiting for him at home. I didn't care. That is the terrifying nature of power. It convinces you that you are the exception to the law. I sent messengers and took her. Notice the word, took. There was no courtship. There was no romance. When a king summons you, you do not have the luxury of saying no. I brought her into my chambers, and for a fleeting moment of pleasure, I traded my integrity. I thought it was over. I thought it was just a night of secret that would stay buried in the royal bedsheets. So went home. I went back to my administrative duties, perhaps feeling a little guilt, but mostly feeling the satisfaction of a man who gets what he wants. Then came the message. 2 words that can topple an empire. I'm pregnant. Panic is a cold sensation. It starts in the stomach and grips the throat. My reputation, my legacy, the very stability of the throne, it was all suddenly fragile. If this got out, I wouldn't be the hero of Israel. I would be an adulterer who betrayed his own captain. The law of Moses is clear about adultery. It demands death, but I was the king. I was the one who enforced the law. Surely, I could bend it. I became a tactician of deceit. I needed to cover this up. I needed a reason for that child to exist that didn't point to me. So, I sent word to Joab at the battlefront. Send me Uriah the Hittite. When Uriah arrived, he looked like a soldier. He smelled of sweat, campfire, smoke, and old leather. He stood in my court, bowing low, his eyes full of respect for his king. I sat there, clean, perfumed, and utterly corrupt, asking him fake questions about the war. How is Joab? How are the people? How is the war prospering? I didn't care about the war. I wanted him to go home. I wanted him to sleep with his wife. If he spent the night with Bathsheba, the child would be considered his. My sin would be erased, hidden by his own actions. Go down to your house, I told him, forcing a benevolent smile, and wash your feet. I even sent a gift of food after him, the generous king rewarding his loyal servant. I waited that night, pacing my chambers, expecting the problem to resolve itself. But the next morning, the servants told me Uriah hadn't gone home. He had slept at the entrance of the king's house with all the servants of his lord. I was furious. I summoned him again. Did you not come from a journey? I asked, trying to keep the desperation out of my voice. Why did you not go down to your house? Uriah looked at me, and his answer cut me deeper than any sword ever could. He said, The ark in Israel and Judah dwell in booths, and my lord Joab and the servants of my lord are camping in the open field. Shall I then go to my house, to eat and to drink, and to lie with my wife, as you live and as your soul lives? I will not do this thing. Do you understand the weight of that? Here was a man with more honor in his little finger than I had in my entire body. He refused comfort while his brothers were in danger. He was shaming me, and he didn't even know it. His integrity was a mirror reflecting my own monstrosity. I couldn't let it end there. I was desperate. The next day, I invited him to eat and drink before me. I made him drunk. I poured the wine myself, filling his cup again and again, laughing, pretending we were comrades. I thought, surely, if his inhibitions are lowered, his instinct will take over. He will stumble home to his beautiful wife. I watched him leave that night, stumbling, his speech slurred. I watched from the window, praying to a god I was currently ignoring that Uriah would turn left toward his home. He didn't. He went out and lay on his bed with the servants of his lord. He never went down to his house. Even drunk, Uriah the Hittite was more righteous than David the king was sober. That was the moment the darkness truly took hold. I realized I couldn't trick him. I couldn't manipulate him. His honor was an obstacle that I could not bypass. And when you are a king who has lost his way, obstacles are not negotiated with, they are removed. I sat at my desk that morning, the sun rising over a Jerusalem that felt colder than usual. I took a piece of parchment and dipped my quill in ink. I was about to write a letter, not a poem, not a psalm, a death warrant. The hand that wrote, "The Lord is my shepherd," now wrote the instructions for a murder. And the most twisted part, I was going to have Uriah carry his own death sentence back to the front lines. My heart had turned to stone. I justified it to myself. It's for the kingdom, I thought. It's to prevent a scandal that would hurt the people. We tell ourselves the most elaborate lies to protect our egos. I handed the sealed letter to Uriah. He took it, bowed, and placed it in his tunic right over his loyal heart. He looked at me one last time, trusting me completely. I watched him ride away, a cloud of dust trailing behind him. I thought I had solved the problem. I thought I was in control. But as he disappeared over the horizon, I wasn't the victor. I was a man dismantling his own soul, brick by brick. If you want to understand how a man falls, don't look at the crash. Look at the small compromises that led him to the edge. I was about to learn that you can hide your sin from the world, but you cannot hide it from the heavens. The blood was on my hands, and the silence of God was about to become the loudest sound I had ever heard. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications, because in the next part, the consequences arrive. You need to see how a prophet confronted a king, and how a broken heart wrote the most famous prayer of repentance in history. Click the like button if you're ready for the conclusion of this story. The news arrived a few weeks later, cold and efficient. Uriah was dead. Joab had followed my instructions to the letter. He had placed honor in the path of arrows, and then withdrew the shield of support. When the messenger told me, I feigned the stoicism of a veteran commander. I told him not to let this matter trouble Joab, saying, the sword devours one as well as another. It was a callous lie. The sword didn't devour him by chance. I had fed him to it. I took Bathsheba into my house. She became my wife and bore me a son. To the kingdom, it looked like a hasty marriage born of tragedy. To God, it was a masquerade. But you cannot imagine the deafening silence of heaven. For months, I sat on the throne, dispensing justice to the people, while my own soul rotted inside my chest. I felt my bones wasting away, my vitality evaporating like water in the summer heat. I was the most powerful man in Israel, yet I was a prisoner of my own secret. I thought I had buried my sin, but sin is a seed, bury it, and it only grows. Then came Nathan the prophet. He didn't storm in with an army. He came quietly with a story. He told me of a rich man with endless flocks and herds who, unwilling to take from his own abundance, stole the single, beloved ewe lamb of a poor neighbor to feed a He described how the poor man loved that lamb, how it ate from his hand and drank from his cup. My anger flared hot and righteous. I stood up, the hypocrite king, trembling with rage at this injustice. As the Lord lives, I shouted, my voice echoing off the cedar walls, the man who has done this deserves to die. I was ready to execute judgment on a fictional villain while the real monster stood in my royal sandals. Nathan looked me in the eye, look that stripped away the purple robes and the crown, leaving me naked before the Omitian said 4 words that shattered my world. You are the man. The house of cards collapsed in an instant. There was no denial, no rationalization, no but. In that moment, the man after God's own heart wasn't the hero who killed Goliath. It was the broken wretch who fell to his knees and whispered, I have sinned against the Lord. Nathan pronounced the judgment. Because I had done this, the sword would never depart from my house. Chaos would rise from within my own family. And the innocent child born of my betrayal would die. I pleaded. I fasted. I lay on the earth for 7 days while the boy suffered, refusing to eat. I thought my tears could change the mind of the Ancient of Days. They didn't. When the child died, my servants were terrified to tell me, thinking I would harm myself in my grief. But when I saw them whispering, I knew, and I did something they didn't understand. I got up from the ground. I washed my face, anointed myself with oil, and changed my clothes. Then, I went into the house of the Lord, and I worshipped. I didn't worship because I was happy. I worshiped because God is God, even when He says no, even when His judgment burns like fire. I accepted that I could not bring the child back to me, but one day, I would go to him. From that pit of despair, I didn't write a war anthem. I dipped my pen in the ink of my own brokenness and wrote Psalm 51. Have mercy on me, O God, according to your steadfast love. I learned that the sacrifices of God are not burnt offerings or rivers of oil. You can't buy God off. The only sacrifice He accepts is a broken spirit, a broken and contrite heart He will not despise. I remained king, and God eventually gave us Solomon, a name that means peace. But I walked with a limp in my soul for the rest of my days, a constant reminder that grace is free, but sin always has a cost. You think your darkness is too great? You think you've gone too far to be redeemed? Look at me. Murderer, adulterer, liar, and yet chosen. Not because I was perfect, but because when I was exposed, I didn't run from God, I ran to Him. If this story spoke to your spirit, if you felt the weight of the crown and the freedom of repentance, please subscribe to the channel right now. We are building a community of people who want the raw truth, not just the fit. Hit the like button to help this message reach those who need it, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story. And I want to hear from you in the comments. Do you believe that great failure is necessary for great wisdom? Leave your thoughts below. I'll see you in the next video.